Everybody, Raider Nation, we're back. It's Tape Don't Lie podcast. Welcome back, guys. We do this every single week. We have the review, then the preview. You guys are getting used to it, so you know it's the review episode. We're coming off a loss this time. This is the first time coming off a loss for us. It's gonna be a little different atmosphere. You can feel it. A loss is a loss, right? So it's gonna be a little different atmosphere today, but we're still gonna give you exactly what we saw, some of the game plans that we saw, some of the adjustments that we didn't see, and a lot of good things. So welcome to the Taped Online podcast. Make sure that you hit subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, please. We love it. We enjoy it. I mean, we're only like, I think 15 away from 1,000. So let's get to 1,000. Keep pushing the podcast. Keep sharing it. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe there. Download on Spotify. Follow my man BD at BD Williams 18. Follow me, the Mark John NFL. We're giving you guys this great stuff every single week, so keep checking us out. How you feeling, BD?
Man, I feel fine personally. Obviously,
Okay.
wish this weekend went a little differently.
Yeah.
But you know, the homer in me, like the fan in me, you come up with all these scenarios where the Raiders could win, even if you're not feeling great about it. But then afterwards, when reality sets in, just thinking about it, Raiders coming off a short week, they're traveling to Foxborough. They're playing against Bill Belichick, who does not lose 2 weeks in a row, right? It was all these injuries that they had. Like you've seen their injury report, and it was like twice as big as the Pats, right? So just everything that they had a lot. They had an uphill climb. They had a lot of factors.
Yeah.
They were dealing with to come away with that. So it does make sense, and obviously going into it, I was like, okay, Raiders can do this. They could pull out a miracle, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, we alluded to it on the preview show. I mean, we were pessimist also as optimistic, So
Yeah.
we're a little bit of both, right? I just think they ran into two evil geniuses this game, and that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
They ran into two evil geniuses, and they had a little bit longer to watch the tape, you could say, maybe. And Bill Belichick is just a mastermind, and so is Josh McDaniels. And I think that was a lot of what happened this week. So, but we'll get into it, guys. Definitely cover everything. Let's go ahead and let's get into this defense. Let's talk about the defense that gave up 250 yards rushing, which is probably the biggest deal that happened in this game. There's really no way around it. The defense, they showed up early, but they didn't show up throughout the whole game. And the Raiders really needed the Raiders needed a little bit of help this game, and the offense didn't give it. So the defense didn't give it. But let's get into it. Let's check it out.
All right. So yeah, guys, like Marcus is saying, Raiders defense, crap the bed here in this one. There's no nice way of putting it. And really, what I want to talk about is the impact that of Nick Kwiatkoski not being in the lineup for the Raiders these last 2 weeks, specifically against the run and what that means. Okay, and the stories there, everyone knows. Patriots gashed the Raiders in the run game. Okay, and the main reason for that is the linebackers were struggling to make the right fits in the run game here. Okay, this one in particular was a bad one, and I'll show you where the breakdown happened. This is Raekwon McMillan, just signed him. He's playing middle linebacker for the Raiders. Instead of getting his hands on impacting this play, he dances around this block. Dances is a strong word. So he runs around this block right here, okay? And we need him to be physical, make a pile, but instead he gets pushed all the way outside the numbers. And honestly, his coaches at least will say it, that's unacceptable in the run game, okay? Now go back to week 1, Nick Kwiatkoski. Let's watch how he plays the same kind of concept, this outside zone, wide zone play. Here he is in the middle, and instead of jumping outside the block, he makes contact with the blocker, okay? creates a pile up, and really you got to win when you're a middle linebacker in the NFL. You got to win plays like this. You got to win with physicality. You got to be able to take blockers on when you're a linebacker, especially a middle linebacker in the NFL. This is the same kind of thing going on here. We got Raekwon McMillan again. He's got to, impact this blocker, but instead he tries to jump outside of it, and he creates this huge hole, this huge running lane. Okay. Now, a lot of people were down on John Abram, and rightly so. He missed some open field tackles. But let's talk about how when one of the 11 links in the chain breaks, it causes people to have to pick up slack. And so now we see here Jonathan Abram. He's one-on-one with about 15 yards of space in between him and the ball carrier running at full speed. And because Raekwon McMillan tries to run around this block, okay, he opens up this huge hole. And what happens is this runner can cut back, he can bang it, or he can bounce it. And with 15 yards in between him and the free safety, this makes John Abrams' job very difficult to try to guess and figure out. The level of difficulty on this open field tackle is at an all-time high, and it's because the linebackers in front of him are not doing a good job. Okay, so this is what it should look like here, okay? And this is going back to week one again. Nick Kwiatkoski's on the field. This is actually the longest run play that the Raiders allowed while Nick Kwiatkoski was on the field before he exited the game with an injury. Okay, again, we got a wide zone. Okay, and Nick Kwiatkoski, again, he gets physical with this blocker. Okay, and even though he doesn't make the tackle, I'll explain why this is so important here. Because he does his job, he gets physical with the tackle. With the blocker, rather, okay? This running area here that Christian McCaffrey has to navigate through, there's only one way to go. There's no cutback. There's no bounce opportunity. He literally has to run straight towards the safety here, Eric Harris. And now because the possibilities have been eliminated, it makes Eric Harris's job that much easier as a fill player, okay, to make a tackle like this. And really, this is what you want to see. You want to see your guys, if they do make a long run, you want to see your linebackers hold the guy up and let the safety hit this guy out of the game, potentially. I know it sounds, a little harsh, a little violent, but that's the name of the game. Now, this next example comes from week 2. Nick Kwiatkoski, again, he is not in the lineup. Okay. And the Raiders have this, it seems like they're lined up weird. And you can point to a lot of players doing some different things or weird things in this play. Corey Littleton is not in a gap. He has no gap responsibility on this. So that's weird because he's a linebacker. You got 2 DBs over here trying to take care of, gaps while a linebacker has no gap responsibility. Okay. But really the biggest thing here is Maurice Hurst at 3 technique and Jonathan Hankins at 1 technique. Now, for some context, the Raiders are a 4-3 over team. So that means that their 3 technique will be on the tight end side, on the outside shade of the guard. In this example, Maurice Hurst is away from the tight end on the outside shade of the guard, playing 3 technique, which is not a 4-3 over, okay? And again, we have Jonathan Hankins playing 1 technique on the outside shade of the center, but he's on the tight end side. Okay. So technically speaking, the Raiders are in an under front, which again, this is not Paul Guenther's defense. He does not run a 4-3 under. He runs a 4-3 over. Okay. So it seems like guys are out of their gaps here. Okay. Now let's go to a change of strength motion week 1. Okay. We see the change of strength motion. And watch Nick Kwiatkoski. He steps forward, he gives a call, and he makes sure his defensive tackles get in the right gaps. Something as simple as that.
Wow.
Okay, is all it takes to play team defense and stop the run. Okay.
Wow, they're really missing Nick. Wow. That is crazy. That's great.
All right. We also know screen passes have been really hurting the Raiders. Okay. And I do think that there is an element of recognition and leadership that is missing on plays like this. This is an example from the New England game. Obviously, not a good looking play for the Raiders. Okay, this is an example from the New Orleans game. Got a little screen action right here, and we talked about this in the last pod. LaMarcus Joyner takes a really bad angle on this. Okay, and this is an example in Week 1 against the Panthers. Now watch Nick Kwiatkoski right here. Okay, look how vocal he is. He's giving calls to everyone. Okay, he's giving signals to everyone. And when he sees a little hand gesture from Teddy Bridgewater, he understands it's a screen immediately, and he gets out there and he stops it, right? So Nick Kwiatkoski, I think, is really the reason why the Raiders have been struggling against the run, against the screen game, having that kind of vocal presence down in the front four. And a lot of people have been down on Paul Guenther. And I just want to say, when you lose your quarterback of your defense 2 years in a row, Vontaze Burfict last year and now Nick Kwiatkoski this year, right? That's putting you in a bind as a defensive coordinator. And I think that the volume that we saw from the Raiders in Week 1 of their defense, in terms of all the coverages, the different types of blitzes that they're running, has gradually, over these last 3 weeks gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think that really is a result of Nick Kwiatkoski just being out of the lineup. Okay. So I'm not trying to make excuses for Paul Guenther and I've been critical of Paul Guenther on Twitter. But I think that his scheme is actually a good scheme. I think that there's some attention to detail that it seems like his units have lacked since he's come. Things like understanding the down in situation, how far your alignment is, small little details that separate, an okay defense from a good defense, okay, have been lacking on his part. So I'll be the first person to be critical of Paul Guenther because I spent so much time watching Raiders defense, okay? But I also understand when you lose Nick Kwiatkoski, how huge of a blow that is for what you can do as a play caller.
Yeah, and I mean, you made some great points, bro. Those are some awesome points about how they miss Nick. I didn't even realize some of that stuff that they're missing. I mean, they're missing their quarterback on the defense. They're missing the guy that gets him in all the right spots. They're missing the guy who moves them into the right spot. Like that with Hurst and Hankins, I mean, that's a big deal, man. That's a big thing that he did. Like, that's not like the normal fan will be like, don't even notice that on the broadcast or anything like that. But that stuff like that goes a long way in getting them into the right fits and making sure that they're making the right plays. And that's so important for everything. And it's interesting that, Raekwon McMillan came in as like a bona fide run defender, right?
Right.
That's what he came in as. And even when I watched him on tape, like, he was great with run fits. That is super interesting to me. I watching him on tape and watching how he played run fits in Miami, and then watching like that stuff is just, it doesn't make any sense, man. Like, he has to be better than that. Maybe the system's new to him, or maybe he's just trying to do too much. I don't know what that is, but man, that is bad. That he just doesn't look like the guy in Miami at all. He does not look like the same guy.
If we want to get like super, super technical here, so there's two different philosophies in terms of filling against the run.
Yeah.
From what you want from your inside linebackers, you either want them to box the block, meaning you want them to go and scrape over the top of linemen who are coming out and get their outside arm and leg free because they're expecting someone coming from the cutback from the backside, okay, to help them out. Or you want them to spill the block or wrong arm the block, meaning you want them, or as a defensive coordinator, you're going to ask them to strike the inside arm and leg now are free. So it's completely two different things that you're asking guys to do. And so I think it just seems like Raekwon McMillan thinks that he needs to be boxing these blocks, and it just, just watching Nick Kwiatkoski, it seems like he's supposed to be spilling the blocks. Okay. And I think there's a lot of muscle memory. Things are going full speed. He didn't have a training camp.
Yeah.
So I fully expect, because like you were saying, that's not Raekwon McMillan that we saw on tape. Not
at
even
all.
close, right?
Not even.
If he eventually is going to be the guy and Nick Kwiatkoski, he's got the tendon and it's not going to work out for him this year, which would be a huge blow for the Raiders defense, obviously. Raekwon McMillan's going to get that figured out. I have no doubt about it, because his film against the run was so good. So it's weird, but I just think that there seems like he's playing the wrong technique for the defense. That
makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, because I was watching what you're doing. I'm like, man, who is that guy? Like, right. I was watching, like, he made so amazing run fits against the Dolphins, like fantastic. Like, just he looks like he was a special run defender. And when I saw him on the field to start the game, I was like, okay, they're coming out. Yeah, they're coming out to start the run, and he's gonna have a big game. And it didn't end that way, because the pass defense was good. I thought they had a good plan for the pass defense, and Cam and them weren't able to get going in the passing game at all. But McDaniels adjusted, and he started throwing those crack tosses in, and they just started getting out of their fits, and it was a big day. It was crazy how they exploited them on the ground. But that goes to Josh McDaniels, and he adjusted.
Yeah. I think on both sides, and you're going to talk about this later, but the Raiders defense, it was, it wasn't much of a cat and mouse game unless the Raiders were the mouse and the Patriots were the cats, right?
Yeah.
Because the adjustments that they were making, it seems like they were making on defense, just came way too far late in the game for any like substantive like changes to actually happen.
Yeah.
In terms of like impacting the game. It's crazy. I've never seen Paul Guenther run so like only one coverage for the entirety of the game. I've never seen that.
Wow.
Before. And so like from halftime on, the Raiders were basically like only in cover one. And to everyone that says, oh, they need to blitz, they actually blitzed a lot, and they got gashed a lot. You saw those screens. Yeah. And one thing I will add to, and I'll probably eventually, I might go on a live stream or we might talk about this, but the Raiders as a whole, when they're blitzing against veteran quarterbacks, against young quarterbacks, it's not a problem. But against veteran quarterbacks, we saw this happen with Aaron Rodgers last year, where Aaron Rodgers was immediately able to see like the intentions, see that it's a blitz, and get out or get into the right play. Okay. We're seeing that against Drew Brees last week, I think, and we're seeing that against Cam Newton this week. They're not disguising their intentions well enough when they're blitzing. Okay, so when it is a blitz, it's almost like they're telegraphing it, and a veteran quarterback is going to go, oh, okay, here, a one-word call, we're going to get into a screen. One little hand gesture, we're going to get into a screen and gash your team. All right. So to everyone saying Paul Guenther needs to blitz more, I've actually been, charting all the Raiders defense. The Raiders give up almost 10 yards of play and through the air when they're blitzing. Okay, so pump the brakes here a little bit. I don't think that blitzing like crazy is really the right idea. We talked about this last week. The Raiders are suspect, especially over the middle in Paul Guenther's blitz scheme. I don't think that blitzing is the answer.
Yeah, well, people love the blitz. They just want a pass rush, bro. That's all they want. They want a pass rush.
It's so funny. I was thinking about this. So finally, when the Raiders actually have a pass rush in this game, right? They're sacking Cam Newton a couple times. Okay, Cam Newton, wasn't able to get it going through the air. We talked about this. It was one of our first episodes. We talked about this. When you rush the passer, you're gonna get gashed in the run game and 250 yards on the ground. So what do you want here, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
We told you, if you're rushing the passer, you can't play or the run. You got to pick one, right?
Yeah.
And I really think it comes down to when they're blitzing, they're not just doing a good enough job disguising across the board. If it's John Abram, if it's LaMarcus Joyner, if it's, Eric Harris, if it's the linebackers, whoever it is, they're not doing a good enough job disguising. And veteran quarterbacks are able to check into these screens that are killing the team.
Exactly. I agree with that. I agree with that. All right, guys. So that was great job by BD, man. That was some great work, dude. Especially seeing the connection between Kwiatkowski and what he's missing. So that was awesome, dude. That was good shit. Oh, oops, my bad. That was, that was good. That was good stuff, bro.
You good.
All right, man. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the offense. The offense, it was an interesting day. It was an interesting day because they were able to run the ball pretty good. It was a lot of power runs, not as much outside zone that I expected, but they were able to run the ball well. But I think the Patriots, the way they look at it is like, okay, you can run the ball on us, that's fine, but can you pass on us is the real thing. Like, you're not going to be able to run every single down. You're going to have to make a pass. And that can go back to the Tennessee game last year where Derrick Henry had over, 200 yards, and they only scored 14 points. Or so they ended up scoring 19 with the touchdown at the end or something like that, or 20. But the offense was only having 14 points before that play. And they're going to take that chance. They're going to decide that, okay, you can run the ball. That's fine. But through the air, you're going to have a long day if you try to air us out, unless you're Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson's crazy, but he's amazing. But it was a little bit of a long day. Let's just say that. All right. So yeah, the red zone offense, man. We'll start off with that. The Raiders were in the red zone 4 times. They kicked 2 field goals. They missed a field goal and they fumbled. And, you look at the fumble right there with Josh Jacobs. That was kind of the start of the woes of the game, which, on that play, Jacobs recovered too. But I think he assumed that he was just going to recover and nothing was going to happen. And they kept fighting for it. And you can't do that with refs. Refs are, especially these days, they're warming up too. You know what I mean? And what happened there, he fumbled. That kind of started everything that happened in this game. And that kind of lets you know how this game was going to go. And, to be honest, the Raiders were due. And they had a perfect games on offense the first 2 games. And you can't have perfect games every week. And this wasn't a game to have it. But they were
especially not against Belichick.
Especially not against Belichick. And they were due for these type of things. But they were able to move the ball at the beginning of the game and get into the red zone and get some plays going. But, I always had a little bit of problem with some of the concepts that John Gruden calls in the red zone. And this is a concept that they ran against, which the Patriots are running a man match. You'll see they're matching and matching all the crossings. They got a guy going back, covering over, doubling Brian Edwards, who's coming across in a crosser, and you got double mesh from Waller and Renfro underneath, right? You got a little mesh route there. And Carr wants Edwards. So if you go ahead and watch what Carr's doing, right? He wants Edwards. He wants Edwards. He's got a little bit of pressure, which the offensive line had a long day. They really did. They had a long day. Colton Miller didn't have his best day. He gave up 4 pressures according to Pro Football Focus. John Simpson, he gave up another 4, and then Denzel Good gave up 4. So both the tackles and John Simpson, especially John Simpson and Colton Miller's side, they had a long day. It was long. And you'll see Carr wants Brian Edwards across the field on the crosser, but Patriots are running man match. So he's letting Waller go. 33, he comes back. He's kind of doubling Edwards. He's looking right at Edwards. He's Edwards crossing. Like they're prepared for everything that the Raiders are ready to do, right? And Carr can't go there. Can't really go to Waller either. So he has to force the ball underneath to Renfro. Field goal. That's just great coverage, right? There's really nothing they could do there, right? That's just awesome coverage. It's really nothing you could do.
No, there's literally no.
Yeah, so we'll see on the back end. We'll check out the line here. And you just see that they were just getting beat all day. Right? Cole Miller gets a pass rush. And still, there's nothing there for him. There's nothing there at all. All right, so let's go to another look here. It's basically kind of a post route with Darren Waller. And that was not there either. You see Devin McCourty. Carr tried to move him with his eyes. It didn't matter. They knew that Waller was the main target on this play. He wasn't moving. So you'll see it from this angle. Post route right there from Waller. Carr tries to move him. Didn't matter. He's right there. So they had red zone issues all day. The red zone was locked up, and it was more about the Patriots coverage than exactly what was happening with what John Gruden was calling. I mean, the Patriots were all over some of these red zone concepts, but that goes back to John Gruden had to be a little more creative with the red zone concept. So let's talk about this one. So let's let this run, and then we'll bring it back. So you see, Carr kind of checks this one down to Rashard. So we'll see what we got here. So I talked about this play last week. Double 7 China. So this is the same concept I talked about last week. Yeah, from the backside, right? This is straight up double 7 China, right? So you'll see two in routes and the corner route from Aguilar, and then you're going to see Renfro. He's going to come across the field. Now, another interesting thing about this play too is Carr anticipated the blitz here. As you see, he moves Waller inside, right? Waller is now blocking. Now, I mean, you could decide what they're going to do before that. I'm not sure. But he's coming over here. He expects man and a blitz, so he wants Aguilar up top. And I really think he could have fit this one in there if he has some anticipation on it. Because you look right here, he's got 31 beat. And I feel like if he can place a nice ball in the back of the end zone, especially with Cyrus Jones, he's running for his life to try to get back in front of Aguilar. So even if Carr underthrew this ball, I still think Aguilar had a chance to make a catch over his head. And Cyrus Jones would have had to make a good cornerback play and, play through his hands, do all those things that you see from great corners. He would have had to make a great cornerback play. And then he ended up checking it down. And it's just a missed opportunity. They got a field goal, right? You'll see it here from the back end. And, John Simpson and Cole Miller get a little confused here too. Right? They both get beat. So let's get into the running back spy that Bill Belichick decided to deploy this week, which I thought was just a special game plan. This was a really tough game plan for the Raiders. The Raiders do like to move the ball meticulously down the field. And Bill Belichick decided that that's not going to happen this week. You're going to have to make big plays and explosive plays. You're not going to just meticulously go down the field on us. Basically, we always talk about, right, 1,000 paper cuts. That's what John Gruden likes to do. He likes to have 1,000 paper cuts, kind of paper cut you to death. But this was not going to happen this game, right? And, this is the play that Tony Romo talked about. I won't go too deep on it, but, you see Waller. He is open on the crosser, but Carr won him a row. He definitely could have gave a little bit more time to hit Moreau, but he hit the check down, right? But I just want you guys to kind of just look at the linebacker depth, right? And also look at the middle of the field too, and see how open the middle of the field is on this. This could be a little bit of a trend, all right? So the linebacker depth they're not dropping too deep, right? They were playing those check downs and trying to make sure that they were going to beat them down the field and beat them with explosive plays. All right. Now, this is the 3rd and 7 play. All right. This is the play kind of Carr scrambled around a little bit. I did post this play on Twitter. It got a lot of love and it got a little bit of hate too. They want Edwards on the corner route. That is where this play is designed, right? And you got Renfro on the dig or the drive route, and then you got 2 outs to Carr's right, which is Waller and Aguilar, right? But Carr, he wants the corner route. Carr right there, he sets. He wants the corner. That's where he's looking. He's like, okay, that's where I'm hit. But it's tight coverage, right? But I mean, you definitely could say maybe he could throw it up, make a play. But the where this game was at, it was still 6-3, right? They still feel like they're in it. Carr probably didn't feel like that he wanted to take too many chances at this point. I mean, you could get mad at that. I understand if you feel like that he should throw that, but it's 6-3. He felt like that he shouldn't take it there just because if he did underthrow it a little bit too much, that's definitely a pick. Maybe Brian Edwards makes him look good. I'm not sure about that, but I mean, if he drops a dime in the corner, he might drop a dime in the corner, But of course, you see here, there's 2 guys on Jalen Richard. So let's go back to that. Let's watch that. Looks like he's coming, right? He doesn't. He comes back out. He's following Rashard. So basically, they're doing running back spies throughout this game to take away. Basically, if Carr wasn't able to hit the deep route, he likes to go back underneath, get some yards, right? No, it's not. That's not going to happen today. They were not going to just dink and dunk the Patriots. It just wasn't going to happen. It was not going to happen today. They were not going to allow it. You'll see it again here. All right. Now, I was talking about how open the middle of the field was, and you'll see if you saw on the previous play, it's wide open, right? You're going to see it again here, and this is after halftime. This plays after halftime. Okay. So the Raiders did make a little bit of adjustment to them doing the running back spot. A little bit of adjustment, and they did attempt to attack the middle of the field because I'm telling you, the Patriots were giving them digs routes all day. They were giving it to them. That's basically what they were doing. Like, you're going to have to make intermediate throws and deep throws. That's what you're going to do today. They basically dictated the game for the Raiders offense, right? And they tried to adjust here, but they got a dig route that's coming for Renfro. That's where Carr wants to go. He wants to go to the slot here. Renfro is about to hit the dig route, and you could already see, right, it's wide open. Middle of the field, it's wide open. They were giving them that all game. But let's go back, okay? Let's go back. I want you to watch Bentley right there. Watch him. See, they're only rushing 3. He tried to make it seem like he's rushing, but he's not rushing. He's spying Jalen Richard, right? Wherever Jalen Richard moves, that's where he moves. He moves out. There's Jalen Richard right there. They're coming up. He was going to tackle that check down regardless. Once Carr made it, even though he was under pressure, he was going to see that, right? They are following Richard. They took that away. You were going to beat us with explosive plays. That was their decision. And the Raiders just weren't able to adjust and make it, right? And you want that to happen. You want them to be able to adjust. And I talked about this on Twitter, man. Play action, they only ran it 5% of their plays. They only ran it twice. And if they ran play action this game, I really feel like it would have been there all day, especially with their iron running backs. They could have played and toyed with the Patriots if they adjusted correctly. I really think that they could have exploited that big time, right? Here's another one. And like I said, this is late in the third quarter. They're down 10-23. They're running double seam routes, or they got a go route, kind of a wheel route with Waller, and then you got a seam route with Foster Moreau, right? But I want you to watch what happens to Jacob here, right? See where Jacobs is at? Look at them converging all over Jacobs. There's 3 guys converging on him, no matter what. It doesn't matter if there was a dig route behind them. They don't care. You are not going to have an outlet. And the Raiders started attacking downfield. And even before halftime, which I'm going to show a couple plays, when they started attacking downfield, they went down the field in 28 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, Derek Carr's completion percentage should have been like 60% in this game, because he should have been just chucking it deep like crazy. And see, when he did, big play. 20 yards, they're at the 50 already. Man. Still a big play. It was literally a challenge. They were literally challenging the throw downfield. And once this started happening, like this is the end of the second half, and this is what I'm talking about. Once they started throwing the ball downfield, like even Stephon Gilmore here, right? Get a pass interference. They beat Stephon Gilmore deep, right? They're at the 20. And then of course, we got the big play of the day. And like I'm saying, this was there all game for the Raiders to take it, right? And here he goes, steps up, throws a dime. Right there, right to Renfro. They should have been doing that all game.
What I love,
I really feel like Derek Carr.
Yeah. What I love about this play, now that you've showed their attention to the check down, is, this corner, when he sees Hunter Renfro's, running that drag across the field and look at Carr, he takes his eyes off the man and he tries to undercut it, and he gets beat for a big play, right? So now you provided more context because now that's like a conscious game plan thing. It's not just that corner maybe having a lapse in technique. It was actually like, no,
Yeah.
that you see the drags, you see the little crosses underneath, jump that stuff, get in front of it because that's the game plan, right? So,
Yeah,
wow.
so, and you can see it on the back end too, man. Like watch his head, right? He looks back at Carr, he loses him.
Right.
That was the game plan. The game plan was to stop everything underneath, right? They were spying running backs. They were doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and it was just an awesome game plan by Belichick. And I really wish that they kind of caught on to it earlier, because that middle of the field was so open. And like, I mean, they played to Brian Edwards on the Yankee concept that Brian Edwards ended up getting hurt on. Like that was there all game. And I don't know, maybe Brian Edwards got hurt. They weren't going to hit it, but like even the second drive, the first big play they had was to Aguilar. And that was actually a snag concept, which, the snag concept for anybody listening is basically is the flat. The flat is number one, and then you have number two, who's basically running a snag, and he reads the two linebackers and decides whether to sit in between them or keep coming across. But on the Aguilar play, a lot of West Coast offenses, they'll add an alert, which goes to the drive route. And Derek Carr was smart. He hit the alert and he hit the drive route instead of going underneath or hitting the flat on the snag route. So that was a great play. But that was kind of the whole game. I mean, the middle of the field was there for the taking, and they didn't take it. And that's why play action. If they play action and they got Jacobs and those guys are spying, they would have went with Jacobs and the whole middle field would have been open. They could have hit like some big plays after big plays and big plays. And then what would have happened is they would have got Belichick and them out of that.
Right.
And then they would have had the underneath game open, and then Derek Carr would have been comfortable. And
So what you're saying is Patriots never had to adjust their game plan.
they didn't have to adjust their game plan.
Yeah.
Never did. And
Yeah.
and that's my main problem, is that they never had to adjust their game plan. If they adjusted their game plan and they were forced to come out of what they were doing, it would have been a different game. And then everything would have opened up. They would have been able to run the ball on them. They should have made them pay over the middle of the field. That's basically what I'm saying. They should have. It was there all game. They should have made them pay. Crossers, digs, dagger concept, Mills concept for the people. That is basically, there's two receivers on one side. The outside guy runs a dig, and then there's a post, right? Post, dig. They would have had no answer for those, right? And then they would have had to back up. And once they backed up, everything's open. The offense would have moved just like it always did, just like it did against the Saints. And and that's why I would tell Raiders fans that think the offense is just completely figured out, that if another team does this and they don't attack the middle of the field, I mean, that's not going to happen. I don't think this is something that every single defense can do. This is like extremely high level coaching with extremely high level intelligent players.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you see Shalik Calhoun, which everybody hates, Reggie McKenzie. He's out there making these super intelligent calls and making reads and doing spies. He's getting pressure. It's coaching. That they just got out coached today. It's really, and you just kind of just hit it, take it, and move on. That's kind of how I feel about this game. They got out coached, and they didn't adjust quick enough. They didn't exploit what was given to them.
Yeah.
And they made Carr throw into a lot of tight windows. It's funny, he had a next gen stat. Carr was like 38 out of 39 quarterbacks throwing into tight windows last year. This week he was fourth of all quarterbacks throwing into tight windows.
Well, that's because they were all tight windows.
It was all tight windows.
Yeah, right.
Right, and that was their game plan. But it wouldn't have been tight windows if they went after those dig routes, man. And that was the big concept. And people got a little upset and thought I was going after Carr when I talked about the double checkdowns, and that's not what I really was even talking about. It was more about Belichick's game plan. It was more about how they were spying running backs out of the backfield, which, I mean, I don't know about you, BD. Like, how often do you see teams spy a running back like that?
I mean, I cannot come up with another example. That's for sure. Okay. I imagine I would have to go back to like some Marshall Falk tape or something like that to like find something
Yeah.
that resembled it, or maybe some Brian Westbrook tape that like from back in the day. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's definitely interesting. I mean, especially that one where there was three guys on him. Like if Jacobs is running a choice route, right? They got a guy over the top and then a guy on each side. There's nowhere for him to go, right? So it's new to me. Never seen it. And for all the people that get their football education on Madden, you cannot call that playing Madden. Okay.
No, you cannot. That is a game plan.
Right.
He went in
Right.
there, saw film. He knew that the Raiders have a check down for everything. Gruden, he has a completion for every single play for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
He has a completion for him. If Derek Carr wants to take a completion, he has one. All right. And that's what they were trying to take away. I'm going to take away your high completion percentage. And if you have a high completion percentage today, you're going to lose. You're going to have a low completion percentage today. And
Yeah.
that's what happened, man. They just got out coached. It kind of does make me want to go back and watch the Super Bowl against the Patriots versus Rams and kind of see, because Marshall Faulk didn't do anything that game. I kind of want to go back.
Okay. Now, that one.
I want to go back and watch
go
that.
all the way back. Yeah. Okay. We should. That's a great point.
Because like Marshall Faulk didn't do anything that game, and that might be like an old school game planning. And Belichick has those classic game plans, man. Like against the Bills and the K gun in the 1991 Super Bowl, he was like, Thurman Thomas, you're gonna run for 200 yards today. And the Bills didn't realize it until like the fourth quarter, and it was too late. And then they had to depend on a field goal, and they only scored 19 points. And so that's what I'm saying. It's not about me bashing Carr. Okay, so everybody calm down. I was not bashing Carr. I was just more amazed by one of the greatest defensive minds I've ever seen. He can just think of anything and just stop you. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. I was just so amazed, man. It was wild.
I'll segue on that just to say, as an aside almost, Raiders fans, I hope if you're tuning in, you're not coming to like justify your dislike of a certain player or because you think a player is great or something like that. We're here to just show you exactly what the film did. Marcus showed you what the film showed us, right? There's no narrative on top of it. It's just the film, right? That's all we're trying. We're trying to be objective here, give level-headed takes. So yeah, I mean, I hope, speaking for myself, I hope that if you guys tune into this or if you guys follow my Twitter feeds or any articles that I've written, I've tried to just make it just about what the tape is showing so I can explain it to you guys and not try to come up with my own narrative about how a player sucks or about this or, that's not what we're doing here. We're not trying to bash any players, okay? It takes an incredible amount of skill, athleticism, toughness to play in the NFL. We respect all these guys who play in the NFL. We don't think anyone sucks. Okay. Like straight up, like, come on. But obviously if some things are happening, that are good on tape, we're going to show you guys. And if things are happening that don't look so good, we're going to show you. And we're just going to be objective about it. All right.
Yeah. And, as I said, I wasn't expecting that to blow up, man. I just thought that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and it was just funny you brought up, you mean the old game plans. Like, I seriously now kind of want to go back and see what they did to Marshall Faulk, because I kind of feel like that might have been what they did. They might have just put a spy on him and just followed him out of the backfield wherever he went. And let Kurt Warner, and then we'll stop whatever Kurt Warner has to do. We'll punch him in the mouth wherever he's throwing. We know exactly what they're doing, and then we'll keep him from using Marshall Faulk as kind of a safety guy or whatever. They used to pass to Marshall Faulk all the time.
Right.
But they used to treat him like a wide receiver, but sometimes you just get out game planned, and if you don't adjust enough, Gruden's has his issues with adjustments that we've always talked about. If you don't adjust quick enough, it's gonna be 30-13 before you think about it. Yeah.
Well, any last thoughts here, Marcus?
Yeah. I think they're in trouble for the pass blocking. I will say that. I mean, they gave too much pressure for a team that was rushing 3.
Yeah.
Like they need Trent Brown back big time just to move Good inside.
Right.
Good had a long day too. He had a long day. Colton Miller, it's hard for me to say he had a long day. And I know you could decide whether some pressures counted on him, but it seemed like half the time he was expecting John Simpson to do a couple things, and Simpson was out of position, which then made Colton Miller look bad.
Right.
So I can't say Colton Miller had a bad day. I'm not going to go and say that, right? But I feel like that they had some communication problems.
Yeah.
Really, really bad communication problems. They weren't the same intuitive offensive line that just, they're on the same page every single time. They weren't that offensive line at all.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But the run blocking was a whole lot better this week, man. I would say that. Run blocking was pretty good this week. It was pretty good.
Okay. That's encouraging, at least.
Yeah.
We got one silver lining.
Exactly.
Silver and black lining.
Always Josh Jacobs, bro. Josh Jacobs, he always shows up. I mean, that's why I haven't really covered him yet. I might cover him like during bye week. During the bye week, we'll get you guys some Josh Jacobs love, but he shows up every week. So, what do you want us to do?
You're right. I did a top 10 plays for every rookie except for Josh Jacobs because I'm like, you guys have already seen all this. Like,
yeah, he seriously shows up every week. I honestly think he's the best pure runner in the NFL. Like some guys might be better all around running backs, but like just running the football, yeah, it's probably like him and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, him, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. Oh yeah, of course, Saquon.
I'm sorry. Ziggy Elliott. Saquon has vision issues, probably.
Yeah, I called that out during this draft process, and everybody got mad at me.
Well, I'll leave you on this, Raider Nation.
Okay.
Trayvon Mullen had a fantastic day. Obviously, from the broadcast, you can see that. I'm not surprising anyone by saying that, but another person that has been quietly very solid through 3 weeks against the pass is Nicholas Morrow. Nicholas Morrow so far has only allowed 2 catches this entire season so far. He's he's doing a fantastic job in Nicholas Morrow in coverage, and I think that it goes to show you Nicholas Morrow was having a hard time seeing the field. Year 1 of Paul Guenther. Year 2 of Paul Guenther, he gets forced on the field. He looks uncomfortable in some situations, especially against the Texans when he's in coverage again. He's doing the wrong thing. He's given up some bad completions to DeAndre Hopkins when they're bracketing him. That cost, ultimately that drive cost the Raiders the game. And now you see kind of Nicholas Morrow taking that final step towards understanding everything that he needs to do in coverage. There's even one play when they try to go vertical on him on a little corner route. And this is the exact play that Nicholas Morrow got beat 2 or 3 times last year on. Green Bay got him with one. I think Detroit got him with one. That running back release out of the backfield vertical into a corner route, and he played it perfectly this week. So it's encouraging to see that, but also it's a little discouraging because if you think, okay, does it take 3 years for a player or for a linebacker to get this system figured out before we start seeing them make impact plays? Hopefully, Littleton can, and Malik Collins and these high-profile free agents. Hopefully, we can see them figure it out quicker than it took Nicholas Morrow.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
Yeah, that's very good point. Very good point. All right. We appreciate you guys listening this week. I hope you guys learned something. That's what we're here for. Hopefully, you learned something from us, and we're helping you out in your little debates. You have a little debate on the side, that's what we're here. We're here to make you guys more intelligent, right? All right, and right. So we appreciate you. If you're listening for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Right, we're almost at 1,000. We appreciate every single one of you. All the guys that tweet us, ask us questions. Everybody that shows us love on Twitter or whatever social media. we appreciate you, and we want to let you know we appreciate you guys listening and following us and showing us so much love. So make sure you subscribe. If you're new here, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe there on Apple and Spotify. Follow BD at BD Williams 18 on Twitter. Follow me, the Mark John NFL, on Twitter. So once again, that's at BD Williams 18 on Twitter, at the Mark John NFL on Twitter. So make sure you guys follow us there, and we appreciate you listening. Any last words, BD?
That's it, guys. Raider Nation, peace out.
All right, see you.